7446 for more information. Now shipping to surrounding islands. It's 641. Tomas Maglotnia, KUAM News, our regional correspondent, covering matters out of the CNMI. Tomas, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. And now we are joined with the CNMI Lieutenant Governor Arnold Palacios, who is joining us live this morning from Saipan. Lieutenant Governor, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. I'm good.
I guess we can just start with the breaking news yesterday of some of the first cases of community transmission that were identified on the island of Saipan involving some of the schools there. What's the latest on that, and what's your message to the community given that it's been over 200 days since the last confirmed cases?
We've got three cases now. We already shut down the schools, but it looks like there's a bigger issue that we need to address, and that is that COVID-19 has to continue to be vigilant in tracing down, doing the contact tracing. It's going to be hard work for them, but we have faith and we have confidence in their ability to do this. And we hope that our community continues to be cooperative. It was a shock, really, when we found out about it. But we're hoping that we can contain this with the cooperation of members of our community. Now, having said all that, it really gave us a wake-up call that we need to be very careful in how we open up things. We began to open up our tourism via the travel bubble, and there are a lot of folks that are coming in from off island, and perhaps this is the time, and I'm hoping that the CHCC and the COVID task force will reassess and reevaluate the protocols and to see what needs to be done to reduce the rest and address the spread immediately.
And we know that just at 8 o'clock this morning, we'll be having the CNMI Governor's COVID-19 Task Force press conference also. So sure, we'll bring you the latest on that as well. Lieutenant Governor, I just wanted to switch gears a little bit because you yourself made some news in the past month, given your announcement to run for governor with Saipan Mayor David Apatang as your running mate. We were streaming the event for our viewers as well, and you said you are running as an independent. We know that the letters of intent deadline for the Democrats are coming up. Are you submitting a letter of intent to the Democrats?
We had the Democrats invited us to do this, and Dave and I are still thinking about it. We had a meeting last Sunday with them, their committee, and it was sort of a bidding meeting. They asked us questions about many different issues, current events, and even our plans. But we left it at that, and our proposal is for the Democrats to just embrace our team and endorse our team as is. But obviously that's something that they might be thinking about, considering, giving it some consideration. But the deadline is looming, so we haven't really decided right now. We're more what do you call it? We're more leaning towards continuing to run as independent candidates and forming a coalition with the Democrats.
And we also heard that some people obviously, as a Republican yourself and completing the rest of your term as a lieutenant governor, uh, what is it like within the Republican Party right now? Is it split? Is it fractured? We know that three incumbents at least attended your announcement at the Manatsam Atdao and Saipan, and you also had former Governor Fitial along with some very well-known Republicans as well. So, what is it like for the Republican Party right now, and what are you hearing in terms of the support migrating from them to you and your independent campaign?
Obviously, I was very appreciative of the presence of three of our incumbents, representative at our announcement, and we've worked with these folks for many years in the legislature. I've gotten to know Vice Speaker BJ Atao, who's from my precinct, my congressman, and Congressman Yumo, who's also my congressman from precinct, and JP Sablan, who's been there for like 3 terms, I believe. And we were very thankful to see them, as well as many of the leaders of the Republican parties who continue to be in the Republican Party. Obviously, you can sense that there is a dissatisfaction in the present trajectory of the Republican Party leadership, as is, and folks are making it known by showing up at our functions. You can call it, there is a split, and the party itself has, for lack of a better word, lost its way. A lot of people that have been Republicans all their lives have looked at it and said, this is not my Republican Party. This is not the Republican Party that we've nurtured for years and supported for years. And so people are veering away from the leadership, not from the party itself. You have 5 people making very significant decisions for the whole party, and eventually for the run in the 2022 election and the people of the Commonwealth. I don't think that's what the Republican Party has done for the past 30 years. There was a situation when we had to go through a primary for 4 candidates in the past, and we did that, and everything worked well because the leadership then was very strong and consolidated its power and consolidated the will of the members of the party. Fast forward to today, a lot of us didn't know that it was a change in the rules, and so you have this sense of disenfranchisement in some of the members, young generations and the older generations of Republicans who have spent half their lives as party members.
And Lieutenant Governor Palacios, one of the things you've said and repeatedly now, and something you said in the announcement that you made, is that some people say that you're complicit, that you were you continue to be in office with current Governor Ralph Torres, and some of the issues that you're raising, you were by his side, maybe. What's your comment to those who say that you were there?
Well, the real crux of that comment was being revealed, and what has been revealed by the investigation of the JGO investigation. And people are saying, well, you should have done something. To that, I wish people understand that the role of the lieutenant governor is not to, quote unquote, babysit the governor. I'm not going to be, the lieutenant governor is not supposed to be doing that. You're not supposed to. I certainly don't agree that I should have told him, and I did tell him at times, even staff, that, but I'm not going to go out in the press and say, hey, he's doing this and he's doing that. This issue were raised, some of these issues were raised with the previous public auditor. Even the Attorney General is aware of this, but then ultimately, the Lieutenant Governor's office is not going to continue to be the one that looks after all the expenditures, the reimbursements, travel expenses of this governor. It's never happened, and I don't think it should be. I think ultimately, I am responsible for my expenditures of funds appropriated by law. I'm wholly responsible for that, just as the governor is ultimately responsible for. And if there's a revelation of a potential misuse and abuse in the expenditure of these funds, then they should be called out. And why am I being blamed for not calling out? A lot of those revelations I wasn't aware of, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't go to finance, the Department of Finance, say, give me a weekly report on his fund balance and his expenditure and where he's going, where he's traveling to, and what he's reimbursing. I don't do that, and I don't think any lieutenant governor in the nation will be doing that or does that. So as far as that specific comments out there that's being floated, that's being posted either in social media or even in the paper, I think that's unreasonable. But people will do that. Will look at me and blame me. Well, why are you coming out at three years later? Well, lo and behold, these are revelations that a lot of us don't know about. Who would have thought you can use 235 gallons of water? That was revealed when the committee went and issued an Open Government Act request to CUC on some of these accounts. But at the end of the day, ultimately, he should be responsible for his expenditures. And whether I'm coming out 3 years later, I could have come out 1 year later, but that's after examining the records.
And something you said in the ongoing House committee probe into his expenditures that is being chaired by Selena Babauta and is Democratic-led. I do want to ask you, you said something there that caught a lot of people's attention. You said, I did not throw him under the bus. He ran under the bus. What is your current view with former Senator Will Castro being subpoenaed to testify, and it looks like the rest of the hearing will be scheduled to wrap up in the next few months. Are you continuing to watch that? And there's a lot of information coming out, and you yourself have said that you've talked to the governor about his spending and travel.
Yeah, a lot of those travels are for, at least because I signed off on some of those travel authorization, and those are official on their face. Washington, D.C., Hawaii, California. I look at the purposes of those, and but there's also other revelations that the committee has made that a lot of us don't know about. Now, I didn't throw the governor under the bus. Absolutely not. It's there. Now, what am I going to cover it up? No, I'm not going to cover it up. I'm not going to cover this thing up when it's right there in public and the committee has it. I'm under oath to tell the truth. There were some comments out on social media that I'm throwing him under the bus. No, obviously, when I looked at those, I said, this guy ran in front of the bus. He's wholly responsible for his account. Nobody else is.
Good morning, Lieutenant Governor. I wanted to get in and ask a question when you're talking about this bus, right? So,
What? Bus?
yeah, so we're talking about this bus right now. You're saying Governor Ralph Torres ran in front of the bus hit him, but let me just ask you, do you think that Governor Torres's performance, his decisions during this pandemic, do you think that they have been good enough to allow him to survive being hit by that bus?
Uh, that's to be remains to be seen. You know, the one group of people that we all need to acknowledge and commend and recognize are our frontliners, our doctors, our nurses, and that goes with Saipan, Rhoda, Tinian, and even Guam. These people work very, very hard. CHCC also comes up and looks at the protocol that needs to be put in place. And those are the people that we should recognize. Those are the people that kept us safe. It wasn't the person that signs the instruction. And, you know, those are recommendations. And if anything, I'm glad that the governor listens to the COVID task force and to Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation, the doctors and the epidemiologists. So whether he survives this, that's a good question. But, you know, that's something that we expected. The Republic of Palau has done it. They shut it down. Samoa has done it. And that's because they shut down and they have different protocols. We're different because we can't regulate the airlines from coming in to Saipan. So, you know, a lot of our positives were coming in from off island. There's at some point when all is said and done, when we do evaluate and reassess the safeties of our community, we're fairly safe. Did we go out and in the process of implementing the protocols that we've said we were going to do, did we overdo it in some instances, like having two quarantine hotel at a time, or did we overdo the purchases by sole sourcing it out to certain companies? Those are going to come to light at a later date, and we've been through 4 different disasters, and I tell you, FEMA will at some point, the Inspector General will take a look at what worked, what didn't work, what we did wrong, and what we did right, and those will come to light.
Lieutenant Governor, just before we let you go this morning, I wanted to ask you, what's the environment like at work? Are you allowed in the building, sir?
Do you have to go around the back, LT, or what? Or you have to Amen Will Castro before you?
I got a parking space in the back side of the building, so there's a door there, and I go back, get on the elevator. The governor obviously moved downstairs about a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago. So it's okay, you know, we're cordial with each other. We don't see much of each other these days. I don't get memos to attend certain function, but it's okay with me. I've been down this road as a minority leader in the House for 4 years when Pitio was and the Covenant were in the leadership position, and you know, if we, all I do is try to stay focused and get onto the projects that I'm on. Yeah, it's a little bit dicey, but at least on my part, I remain civil and I remain courteous. At least out in public. Now, do I feel that way? Sometimes I don't, but I'm good. I look at what I'm supposed to do, what I do. I go out now. I'm in a way, I'm kind of glad that I have all this time. free up out of the office sometimes, and I go and look at projects. Go down to NMTI to talk to the folks over there. And I intend to go to the college, talk to PSS, see what kind of issues we have. We've got these beach road projects that I'm heading and putting a lot of time into that, making sure that that thing rolls out and is done well. So yeah, the atmosphere is a little bit different. I cannot deny that, as you will suspect, but it's all good with me. I don't know if it's all good with him. People call me up privately, man, we wish, well, yeah, but this is where we're at, and we just gotta be civil about it.
Lieutenant Governor, does it affect the people of the CNMI, this lack of a working relationship that you now have with the governor? Are the people of the CNMI losing out because your ideas, your principles are not being given that seat at the table that you've had?
Well, one of the things that I've had all my life is that I can tell you I've had maybe more than 35, close to 40 years of experience in government as a mid-management and a management level in the executive branch. And then I went to the legislature for 16 years. And there was a lot of times when I tell you, even in front of cabinet members or consultants or even advisors, that I tell them, hey, I don't think we should be doing this. It doesn't make sense, so that atmosphere is there. I don't hold back, even in close. I don't hold back. Hey, that's not good. And you guys better be careful, because sometimes it's a federally funded programs, and we need to be very careful with federally funded programs and even local funds. We need to begin to really learn, to figure out, and to know where we're going. What is the end game to programs? What's the end game to? I give you, with all due respect to the travel bubble, what's our end game? What's our end game for this? We're burning close to $1.5 million a month. Maybe more now, because obviously there's more tourists coming in on a flight and giving them free room and board at hotels.
And Lieutenant Governor, that's something you shared with us on last night's newscast about ARPA. You said about $15 million of ARPA is being given to the MVA?
It's probably more now, because this is, now we gave some funds from ARPA for this year, and then we've got additional funds coming to MBA to develop, redevelop, or reset the Korean market and the Japan market. Well, those are all great. We should really understand the dynamics of COVID also. The travel bubble was good, but I thought it was an overkill on our part to pay the hotel just to stay open. Okay, we're paying the hotels just to stay open, to start operating. Then we're paying for the rooms on top of that. $235 a day per pax. So you multiply that, and they say, okay, so how long is this gonna be? What are we trying to do here? Have exposure? We've been having exposure. We should have maybe consider looking at spending a lot of these funds to improve our tourist facility now, and do this at a limited basis. We're paying for the airlines to fly in. If they have a load factor of less than 40%, or less than 40%, we pay them close to $45,000 a trip. We have 9 trips a week. We're paying Tiway, Isiana, and Jeju Air. Of of course, these guys would fly their planes because they would rather fly those planes. It's costly for them to stay on the tarmac at the airport in Incheon. So, again, and I tell you, the story is after several meetings and evaluation and coming up with how this thing's going to roll out, I wasn't aware that it was the meeting was a press conference, and it was going to be rolled out to the press that this is what we're going to do and explain it. And I didn't know that it was the launch. I wasn't aware. I guess I missed the memo, or they didn't send me the memo. And the first thing I did was after the presentation, say, anybody have a question? I raised my hand and said, yeah, I have a lot of questions. Yeah, those numbers don't matter. What is the end game to this? How long are we going to do this? How long are we going to subsidize this thing? When you have, Banzai Cliff, the site there needs to be paved. Grotto needs water. I'm glad that some of the private companies have stepped up to the plate and made a lot of improvements at the grotto, and we cut ribbon on it. But there's a lot of other things we could be doing to entice and make sure that when tourism starts flowing in here, we're ready. I've tell people, for example, that hey, I was down there at a restaurant at the Paseo de Maranas. You go there and it's like, this is what we should be doing, cleaning up this whole area, because this is where the tourists hang out a lot.
Yeah, Lieutenant Governor, so many issues that we can touch on today, and we thank you so much for your time, for joining us this morning, and
I wanted to ask about, I'm sorry, Tomas. I wanted to ask, LT, did you get the memo on former Guam Senator Will Castro being hired as the chief of staff? What's your reaction to that? How would you describe the working relationship, if there is one? Did you get a bottle of scotch?
That floored me. I wasn't aware of that until I saw it in the paper. But, hey, if the governor needs Will Castro to come from Guam to help him run his office, more power to him. He's got a good job, probably. He's got a nice contract, but, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are laughing. Maybe he's got a lot of potential to help us here. I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't see him at the office upstairs either. So there you go, Chris.
Right on, LT. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. And if you're just joining us, also at 8 o'clock in the morning, there will be the CNMI COVID-19 Task Force press conference with the latest on the community transmission in the CNMI, which comes after over 200 days of no community transmission confirmed. So thank you so much, LT. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
There you go. Lieutenant Governor Arnold Palacios of the CNMI. 7:09. Quick break, guys, and we're coming back with a sneak peek of the new episode from the KUAM Podcast Network. It's Talks with Toss next, right here on the link.